In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been
I'm sorry,
satisfied.
John.
Meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Copies of all revised or additional meeting notices are sent via fax to the Record, Suburbanite, and Northern Valley Press, and are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center. For the record, we have a combined meeting tonight?
No,
No?
it's a regular meeting, with a closed session,
Okay, we have a closed session.
yes.
This is just a work session?
It's just
No,
regular
it's
meeting.
regular.
Public
Regular meeting.
Well, we're going in the other room then?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a pre-meeting?
Pre-meeting.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
pre-meeting.
Okay, so we'll have this is a pre-meeting, we'll have public comment in the other room. So, you have anything, Lisette?
No.
Jewel?
Yes, I have some updates. As you know, last week we talked about the new zoning map, which we have posted outside for the public to take a look at.
It's very beautiful.
Yes, it came out very well. We will not, unfortunately, be adopting it this evening by resolution. When Lizette looked at the background, it turned out that the previous revisions had been approved by ordinance. Therefore, we have to approve these by ordinance. So we will start that process in January. As we said before, a copy of the map is available for the public inspection, and we've put a note on to indicate that it will not be formally adopted until January. In terms of a preview of upcoming activities that have been set since the committee of the whole session, on January 12th, we'll be having a closed session at 7 o'clock with Mark Ruderman, the Labor Council, regarding contract negotiations. On January 26th, we'll have 2 discussions scheduled with invited participants for the committee of the whole portion. That is a combined meeting. Andy Hippolyte will be in attendance, along with the Verizon representative to review the Verizon proposal. Andy will also, since he's going to be here, review the River Edge Road mid-block crossing report and the follow-up that's required with the county.
Mid-block is this one right here?
Yes, on River Edge. And we'll make copies of the full report available to you prior to that meeting. And then the third update is we talked about the Board of Education coming with regard to the board representatives giving us an overview and their perspective on the upgrade to the telephone system. And they will be here also on January 26th. And that will be Yasu Sami, the business administrator, and Bob Caputo, the IT coordinator.
Okay, Bill, do you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. So we start at 7:45 in the other room. So,
Do we need to know anything about the skate park hours? It was something sent
well,
out
yeah,
here.
no,
I didn't see any documents.
no, there are no documents. I just wanted to report to the council that, how the skate park was working at this point, because this time of year, we have no site supervisor. So the skate park is working pretty much like the basketball courts. Due to the time of the year, the lights do not go on. Well, there's no lights at the skate park. The lights in the basketball court don't go on in December, January, and February. But neither the basketball court or the skate park gets locked up. The skate park hours are from sunrise to sunset. However, they don't lock that up either. So anybody that's in the skate park after sunset is basically trespassing. And I had a email from some 10-year-olds asking for lights in the skate park, which I don't think is a good idea. I'm going to meet with them and just talk about it, but they don't seem to understand that the skate park theoretically closes at sunset. And we need to keep these things in mind for all of our recreation facilities. That's how it works. And we also need to remind our police to keep an eye on these facilities. If people are in them after dark, they should be asked to leave. Dan?
I have a question, it's probably more for Jewel. So this came up at county, we have freakishly warm weather in December. Is there, it's scheduled when it's winter solstice, the lights go out earlier. Is there a way to keep them up, just to keep up with the temperature differences? If they go off in the summer because we expect it to be cold. what happens if it's warm like now? Do they stay on longer? Is there a possibility for that? You know what I mean? Like to adjust the lighting schedule to the temperature, current temperature.
The temperature may be warmer, but it's still getting dark. And that's what the schedule is based on. It's
So
based on
what-
light.
I could play basketball now if the lights were on. You know what I mean? It's warm enough. People could come out. With the lights,
I guess the question is, do we want to encourage it?
Does the skate park have lights? I'm sorry.
No.
No. it
No,
doesn't.
it's not a
No.
question. This
Okay.
is
It's
about basketball.
strictly a daytime activity.
it's just a general
Well,
question.
you're talking specifically though about the basketball courts.
Or whatever field.
Tennis
we have
courts.
lights. Right, tennis, let's say, the soccer cage.
Well,
Theoretically,
the
it should be off.
the problem is, the only person that would be around at these hours to regulate the lights would be a site supervisor, and that's not in the budget to have a site
a
supervisor
seasonal
at this time of
position.
year.
And it's not like the high school field where they do it by an app from off-site.
Well, that's different because, I mean, they're using that year round.
Yeah, people walk when it's 20 degrees, believe it or not.
Right. But there's no way to keep, I guess.
Well, what's the issue?
Well, there
Why
is,
wouldn't the
there is
lights be
no
on?
issue, I just wanted to.
No, I want to try to.
Why wouldn't the lights be on? Like, we could, if we wanted, so at the county facilities, people want to play tennis, but the lights are off.
Well,
But it's still warm
we
enough.
could adjust the timer for the basketball courts to leave the lights on, but the question becomes,
It's not if we want to keep them on, is it customizable to like a daily or a weekly?
the basketball courts have a manual timer. There's a timer in a box over by the basketball courts. Somebody could adjust those, if you had the key to the box.
Right.
You could adjust the timer on a daily or weekly basis.
Okay, right.
The only thing that's not over there is the police do have the ability, I believe there's an an off switch. The
Okay.
the police
At the
can
police
turn the
station.
lights off.
Right.
They could turn it on, but it's not gonna go on unless the timer says it's time for the lights to be on.
Right.
The question is, who takes charge of that? Theoretically, at 4:30, there is no staff here to do that. You know, the recreation staff works from 8:30 to 4:30.
Okay, so, follow-up question. So theoretically, at 4, the weather's really nice till, let's say, 9, just a random time. Can someone, before they leave, set the thing for 5 hours to stay on, and then at 9 they're off? Like on a daily basis?
They could do that, and as long as they remember to readjust it on the first night that they don't want it on
The-
for 5 hours.
I guess the
That's
issue is the
retarded.
practicality of it. You're talking about putting office staff to do that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Normally, we have a site
Right.
supervisor,
Gotcha,
but it's a
gotcha.
seasonal
Yeah.
position.
Okay, gotcha.
The seasonal position is over the summer or what's the
It's
9 months.
9 months of the year.
9 months?
Okay,
And basically, the winter, we basically shut it down
Correct,
in a way.
correct.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I
And
think
even, I mean, I
It's not as
understand
easy
what
to
you're
turn the
saying.
lights on,
It's
yeah.
really not
It's
that
not just
easy.
on off.
And yeah, we've had a stretch, but you can also have a situation where you just have one nice day.
Exactly, right. That would make sense not to do that, but, so I'm just using this month as a freak accident winter.
Well, considering global warming,
Yeah.
maybe this is the time to talk about it.
So, I mean, it's just a thing, it's the thought.
Okay, before, I'll entertain a motion to close the pre-meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll see you inside. We'll start in about 5 minutes.
Dan, in Leonia and Sylvan Field.
Which one's Sylvan?
It's the big one where the soccer is.
Good evening. Good evening. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. Meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby and the municipal center, and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Copies of all revised or additional meeting notices are sent via fax to the record, Suburbanite Northern Valley Press, and are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center. Salute to the flag, please. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bash?
Here.
Councilmember Park?
Here.
Councilmember Stefanowitz?
Here.
Councilmember Zina?
Here.
Mayor Rustin?
Here. Revisions to the agenda?
We have none?
Minutes to be approved. I'll entertain a motion to approve the following sets of minutes. November 23rd, the work session, November 23rd, the regular meeting, and December 8th, the closed session.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Audience remarks for agenda items, please? Actually, for any items. Anybody care to speak? Please.
Let's try this. Wait.
You broke it, it's yours.
Johanna Gambro, Ravine Road. I had a couple of items this evening. The first one is about the community center, proposed community center. And it seems as if there's going to be an ad hoc committee formed. And as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, the mayor gets to choose who is going to be on the committee. Is this correct?
That's how our committees work.
Okay. And that reminds me of campaign literature, about statements that I've heard from the mayor, that it's really, that he doesn't get a vote unless there's a tie, and therefore it's really all the council's fault, whatever happens, because they vote. But in reality, the mayor is choosing all the people to be on the committees in this town. So who has the power? It's the mayor, because he gets to choose the people who are on the committees. And that brings me to the question as to who is going to be on the committee. Now, so far, I have heard that location is a question, and the end of Grove Street has been mentioned more than I'd like to hear it mentioned. So that's an issue, because there you have the Tenafly Swim Club, which I've been there for 30 years, and many people love that place and don't want to see it disrupted. And you've heard the senior center being mentioned as a possible inclusion, a teen center. So I would assume that if you're going to have an ad hoc committee, that you would have representatives from all these groups. And if you don't, then you're slanting the committee in favor of one constituency over another, which I don't think is fair. Now, in the spring, Councilman Zinna mentioned this idea or concept at least 5 times. The very first time that I heard this, I called the president of our board and said it was just reported in a meeting, a council meeting, that Councilman Zinna had spoken with the presidents of both clubs, and they thought it was a good idea. She recoiled. She said, I was busy, I was in a hurry, I wanted to be polite, and I said, that's an interesting idea. She never approved or disapproved, and she never heard, according to her, from Councilman Zinna again. I'm only reporting what I heard. And in a meeting recently, I heard also from Councilman Zinna that the only way the the members of the Tenafly Swim Club knew about this concept was because I told them, as if that was a no-no. The shock waves went through the club like wildfire, and someone started a petition, and every day, everyone who came in and went and left had an opportunity, and there were hundreds of signatures. So I just wanted to bring up that point. And there was one other one, which, oh, yes. The new toy, the hoverboards, there was a discussion in the other room about it. And I think that it's really important to speak to the spirit of this safety issue. Now, you can talk about all kinds of technicalities, is this really a toy? Is this a vehicle? Other towns are doing this. The city's abandoned. They catch on fire. They're dangerous. And so on and so on and so on. Tenafly is a small town. Washington Street has a few blocks where there are stores. And people would like to shop. And if you want the town to thrive, that is, have customers, you don't want hoverboards up and down the sidewalk. So, I mean, common sense has to rule here. It doesn't make sense to me to allow something like that, which it's all over the news. You see the fires in stores, you see the fires on sidewalks, because they are, the possibility of catching on fire is great. And I think just use some common sense and remove yourself from this technicality, that technicality, some other technicality. It's common sense. I would not want my children or my grandchildren on one of those devices. I don't think they would allow it either. My children would not allow it. A neighbor who just moved in, and he's about 10, saw him coming up my street. It's on a hill, on one of these hoverboards, and I said, I sort of looked alarmed, and he said, well, my parents know that it catches on fire, but we don't charge the battery that much. And I thought, you allow your 10-year-old child to ride something that has the potential for catching on fire? This is insane. Common sense, that's all I ask. Thank you.
Would anybody else care to speak? Hang on for 1 second. Gentleman in the back?
This is a non-agenda item.
Come on.
Thank you. Excuse my back. Sam A. Bruno, 69 Ivy Lane, Tenafly. Greetings and good evening. I'm here this evening as a citizen. Repeat, as a citizen. And the topic that I'd like to offer to this august council is the matter of the municipal parking lot, S3, also known as the swim club parking lot. I'm here to bring to you your attention, and I'm here to ask and request, not demand or instruct, not to direct, if the borough's resources could be directed to that area to please go in and consider trimming back significantly the trees and branches, the weeds and the brush that have been there for years, if not decades. I am not advocating or supporting a capital project. Repeat, not. My eye sees that this is purely a routine maintenance issue. This is not about grants or money or capital expense. Purely the regular maintenance of the growth there. Later this evening, for your information, I'll provide to each of you at your email addresses photographs that were taken today that clearly show that what is there now and has been for years is reasonably a safety issue for any vehicles that are parked there, for any people who could be there, especially with winter approaching. Thank you very much for your time.
Sam, a question. I was under the impression that during one of the fall vacations, weren't we supposed to go in there and do some significant trimming? I thought that was what was the schedule.
We have done some, but I mean, at the time, we were basically talking about taking responsibility for it in general.
No, but
Right, but that's not part of our agreement right now.
Can I object to that as a form?
Hold on.
Some people can answer questions, and some people don't get questions out.
You could just hold on a second, all right? You're interrupting something.
Well,
Wait a second.
it's a comment of the people, that's what we have today. Comment, it's not a conversation.
Max,
Yeah.
Okay?
And happy holidays for all. Good evening.
Sam, I have a question for you, because you brought something up. I was under the impression that sometime in the fall, we were going to go in there on a school holiday and do some significant trimming. To the best of your knowledge, since you were usually on top of these things, was that done? And maybe not done to your satisfaction, or it wasn't done?
I would leave that, as I say, I would leave that to the photographs, the JPEGs that I'll send to each of you, all of you this evening. And what I might suggest is that you compare those to the photographs that were sent on March 16th, almost 9 months ago, of the same area. I wouldn't want to put myself in a position to evaluate any.
Well, I just wanted to know if we had gone in there or not. To the best of your knowledge, you don't know.
I'm not aware of what the assignments have been for the borough. Thank you all very much. Good evening.
You're welcome. Anybody else care to speak? Please.
Frank Fiorello. I live on Westervelt Ave. I have a 13-year-old son who spends a lot of time at the skate park. He's been under the influence of some kids out of town that I think are not a really healthy influence for him. I think the reputation of the skate park in towns surrounding Tenafly might not be the best due to rumors of, kids possibly smoking pot, vaping with the electronic cigarettes, drinking, that type of stuff. I know my son's gotten in a little bit of trouble with a couple of kids there. I spoke to the Tenafly Police Department about the issue and asked them if they could maybe step up the surveillance of the place to maybe, discourage some of this activity. And during the discussion, I came across the thought of possibly having some type of video surveillance, which I suggested to the police. They said that is done in some cases with some other, the Jewish Community Center they mentioned and a couple of other spots that I really can't recall, where those organizations installed the equipment and the Tenafly police just monitored it from the station house. And I briefly looked into it, and I think it wouldn't be that expensive to do. And I was kicking it around some friends of mine, and I think I would be willing to look into financing some type of video surveillance for the area as basically a deterrent for any of this activity that might be going on.
Thank you.
And so I would just throw it out to the mayor and council, and I would hope you consider it, because I think that skate park's fabulous. I love my kid going there. I think he's got a couple of really good friends. It's a great activity. It's a good physical activity, and I'd hate to have to stop him from going there due to these other factors.
We'll reinforce with our police department to keep an eye on it. We'll do better.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll get me your contact information, which I can pass on to.
Sure. I will send you.
Any other public comment from the audience? Okay, we'll close the public comment section then, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Councilmember Stefanowitz?
Yes.
Councilmember Zinna?
Yes.
Committee reports. Do you have anything tonight?
I met with the environmental committee and the green team. The environmental committee is looking forward at the open space trust fund use, and they're very concerned about how big they want it. They wanted to let it grow, so more possibilities open for land acquisition, and that's their chief concern as of right now.
Mark?
Okay, one report tonight, the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce parade last week went extremely well. It was well attended. There were 200 adults and about 75 children in attendance. number one. And number two, regarding the chamber dinner is January 13th from 6:30 to 9:30. So save that on your calendars, mark that date. It's going to be at the Clinton Inn, and they'll be honoring Dr. K from the schools.
That's a Wednesday?
Is that a Wednesday? Yes, it is.
Is that the night, we have a planning board meeting that night?
Could be.
We do. So that means you can't be there and I can't be there.
Right,
Or
that's
if you-
correct.
Okay.
Well, 6:30 it starts. So,
No, that's usually a cocktail hour.
right.
That's a good start for a planning board meeting. I think you ought to check the borough calendar before you make these dates. Anything else, Mark?
That's it for tonight.
Max, you have anything?
No, there was no meetings.
Paul?
Zoning board met, and the biggest matter was the variance for height sought by the Shabbat House. They want to expand height to 55 feet, and the testimony began, but the end of the meeting came and they have held over. They're going to continue in January. The HPC met, and there was discussion on designation of the Atonement Church with some of the church trustees, but no decisions have been made yet.
Mark, do you want to mention on the plan, we had a planning board meeting last Wednesday night, and we had, if I'm not mistaken, 2 subdivisions?
We had 2 subdivisions, and they were each of the subdivisions, one of them was taking a property that was previously 2 lots, was subsequently changed to 1 lot in the 1950s, and the applicant requested that it be